Do not make this mistake when building Dr. Ratio. I have seen some infographics recommending this mistake and also had people on HoYoLab ask me why you should not build 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke on Dr. Ratio. As Dr. Ratio says,
ignorance is a malady that must be cured.
And so we are going over this misconception. 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke increases the wearer's attack each time the follow-up attack does damage. Basically, if this follow-up attack only did a single hit but to multiple targets, it would count it as 1 times the number of multiple targets. This is why 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke is so strong on Jingyuan, because each hit the Lightning Lord performs can already hit up to 3 enemies. So 3 hits in and Jingyuan would already be at max stacks. Conversely, if the follow-up attack performed only hits a single enemy and only hits a single time, you are only able to get a single stack of Ash Blazing Grand Duke, which is 6% attack. Perhaps you can already see where I'm going with this. Dr. Ratio's follow-up attack is a single target attack and only hits a single time. Now, the other part of the passive is what makes this a problem for Dr. Ratio. The attack stacking effect is removed the next time the wearer performs a follow-up attack. Essentially, Dr. Ratio will be permanently stuck on a single stack of Ash Blazing Grand Duke, hence 4-piece Grand Duke is simply an inferior choice to running a 2-piece plus 2-piece set. Maybe you don't believe me, and so we have some proof here with Herta. As you can see, I'm using Herta and she has 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke. The reason why I'm using Herta is because the number of hits she performs from her follow-up attacks depends on how many enemies there are and how many enemies are below 50% HP. So for example, if only a single enemy is below 50% HP and there are 5 enemies, then Herta would perform 5 hits from that single attack. If you only have a single enemy below 50% HP, then Herta should only deal damage a single time, just like Dr. Ratio. There we go. And she only has a single stack. So if this was Dr. Ratio, he would also only get a single stack. And again, remember that the passive stacks are reset every time the character performs another follow-up attack, and you can only increase your stacks by doing follow-up attacks. So what this means is that Dr. Ratio will forever or permanently be stuck on a single stack of Ash Blazing Grand Duke. In that case, you would just have follow-up attack percentage increase and 6% attack. So why would you go for 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke when you can go for follow-up attack percentage and then 12% attack, which is equivalent to 2 stacks of Ash Blazing Grand Duke? So how should we be building Dr. Ratio instead? Kind of like Topaz, Dr. Ratio has yet to get a 4-piece best in slot during his release, and we can only really run 2-piece plus 2-piece sets. You can run any attack percentage 2-piece set, 2-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke, or even 2-piece Wastelander. I've heard buzzings about running a 4-piece Wastelander set together with Welt. However, this set heavily depends on how well built your Welt is. If Welt is able to keep enemies imprisoned for long periods of time, this set can actually be very strong for Dr. Ratio. However, in extremely hard content, most enemies have like a million effect resistance and it might be a bit hard for Welt to maintain his imprisonment. Also, you would have to pair Welt permanently with Dr. Ratio if you run this set. If you don't mind that, I guess 4-piece Wastelander is a decent choice, but I don't like the limitation you place on Dr. Ratio's team building. In general, Dr. Ratio's best teammate is Topaz, and so having a team with Topaz, Ratio, and Welt will not be very good for Topaz because Topaz's individual damage does not benefit from having Welt on the same team. This is why Runmei together with Topaz and Ratio is very strong, because Runmei provides damage buffs for both of them. As for his main stats, Dr. Ratio should run crit rate or damage depending on which you require more of, speed boots, imaginary damage boost, or attack percentage. This one is kind of complicated and ultimately depends on what teams you run, but the difference is quite negligible, and so just run whichever you have the better substats on. Generally, if your teammates already provide a ton of damage percentage buffs, attack percentage is better, and if your teammates provide more attack percentage buffs, go for imaginary damage. And finally, Link Rope would be attack percentage. For 2-piece sets, you can either run Innate Sassoto or Firmament Frontline, depending on how much speed you have or whether you want more crit rate and stuff like that. Obviously for substats, you want to value crit and speed and then attack percentage. That's about all I have for this short guide. So thanks for watching and see you in the next.